All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Oregairu, Season 2, Episode 11.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Last episode was fantastic.
It was really good.
And it also left me with a particularly bad taste in my mouth.
For multiple reasons.
For several reasons.
We've got a situation where Yukino's family will become a bigger part of the conflict. They're setting up some things with Hayato, which are very, very sus. Haruno is, of course, involved in some way.
As she is.
And in some ways, Haruno feels like I understand her a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas the other characters involved, they have more question marks now above their heads, especially Hayato. Second thing, Yui getting completely sidetracked like that.
silent montage treatment for the, date that then only gets them actually talking and us hearing what they're saying, and the montage broken once they're about to get interrupted because Yukino's birthday and who knows, maybe even potential arranged marriage stuff with Hayato. Oh, joy!
Yeah.
I am actually very excited to see what happens, but in sort of a dark, twisted, and scared way. All right.
Yeah, this is the kind of drama that will lead to friend groups being very tested.
Yeah, let's just say this is a shitload of conflict that we're getting right here.
Yeah, and most of it is all teased. Like, there's nothing really on the surface immediately other than the fact that Yukino doesn't want to do this alone, and she's about to ask Hachiman kind of for help, to save me.
And then Mama shows up.
Well, no, Haruno says, don't. This is already at the point where Mom's there.
Right.
Mom's already there. Yeah. So it's her being like, Hachiman, please, come on. And then Haruno immediately be like, nope, don't do that.
And, of course, nowhere in this is Yui. Yeah. I mean, she's there.
I mean, she is right there. She's right literally right there. Yeah. So calm down with your saltiness. Yeah. You're ignoring reality. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. I hate you too.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Okay, so this
Hayato.
Yeah.
Hayato.
There were I'm not entirely with this episode, Hayato definitely had the focus.
For the most part.
Weirdly enough, this episode actually felt less jam-packed than usual. Like most of the time, it's like, oh my god, every minute it's like, how are we going to do this? But now I feel like with this, we've got the situation with Hayato, we've got the situation with Yukino. And then we've got the situations that are being implied as far as interactions and dynamics between the characters.
Yeah, especially between Yukino and Hayama.
Right, but we haven't gotten, official exposition, on the topic, but it seems like our suspicions... We're left a little bit to guess, but it seems like our suspicions were on the right track.
Yeah.
That at the very least there is some
some precedent.
There is some precedent, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's an official arranged marriage or it's something where Hayama crushed on her and the parents were very supportive, maybe a bit too supportive,
or too pushy for it,
right? Or who knows,
and
right?
He lost maybe his chance with it,
right? It's for some reason it didn't go well with Yukino, probably. Whatever the circumstances were.
Yeah, what I would guess is that we're looking at some kind of spectrum of in between those things, which isn't a very large spectrum. It's the kind of thing of where, I have wacky stories about this kind of thing. It is so weird how many people in the modern day still practice socially constructed arranged relationships where it's not based on some kind of written contract where it's bound before the marriage or the relationship or whatever even happens, but it's the thing of hey, I'll push this and you push this and make this, and it's really creepy just from my perspective. I know that there are ways in which it can work, but in this dynamic here, them being especially, I would say, young, there
was a point when I was in a sociology class and the professor asked the question of what are your guys' personal opinions on the whole concept of arranged marriage, and is that something that you would personally be up for, right? And what I found is that it seems to, because for me personally, I was actually okay with it from the standpoint of me personally, because I have a really good relationship with my parents, and I would see it as more being like they would veto it if it wasn't, if they were like, no, this is a big problem.
And you were like 18, 17?
Yeah. I was like, I think I was 17 at the time,
Okay.
but just as like hey,
Gotcha.
if for some reason I'm being stupid, right. Then there you go. But in this situation, Yukino does not have a good relationship with her parents, right? And they do not have her best interests at heart. Necessarily.
Yeah, and not necessarily. And,
So-
and the way that we can simply extrapolate from this, the things that are universal on all ends of this spectrum that we seem to be fixated on, is that her parents are potentially trying to make decisions for her that she doesn't like.
Yep.
And Hayato, as we've seen thus far in this episode, extra confirmation of it, he feels trapped.
Yes.
He feels like he's in a situation where he keeps being taken away, options get taken away.
Sure.
So this friend group that he's in allows him the freedom to have the illusion of choice.
Right.
And yet he puts himself out there to be everyone's friend.
But he's really not.
And that the weird thing is that none of it is really genuine.
Yeah. And the idea that because there's Hayama's sort of like archetype that he adheres to, right? And
Totally.
that Hachiman like very much pointed out, and it bugged him a lot when he first met him, right?
Right.
But then there's the reasons of why Hayama adheres to that archetype, right?
Oh,
Because it is a very intentional thing. Like he constantly reminds us, I'm not that nice a guy, right?
Yeah.
Like he is strategic with how he handles his interactions and his relationships, even in the situation with what's her name?
Yumiko.
Yumiko. Yeah, I keep wanting to say Kumiko, but no, different show. But with Yumiko and with Iroha, of specifically thanking them after the race, that's a bit cruel.
Yeah.
Iroha just confessed to you when you shot her down.
Yep.
Yumiko, she clearly likes you.
She's clung to you.
She's clung to you, and
For a while.
you let her, and you're encouraging her. You're kind of stringing her along, right?
Yeah.
That's rough.
That is really rough.
That's
One of the things that I really like about Hayato, just in general, is I love the subversion, if you will, of his archetype.
Yeah.
His archetype is one of my least liked in all of kind of the high school kind of characters.
Right.
There's a lovingly like wholesome aspect to this archetype a lot of the time, where you're just like, aw, what a good potato. What a
Sure.
good, bland, one-dimensional character you are.
But he is
Hayama's
not
nothing
bland.
like that.
Yeah.
And the fact that we see him here finally just say to Hachiman right out the
hate
gate,
you.
just, I hate you. And it is based on a feeling of inferiority.
right.
It is not based on something of where you agitate me so much that I can't stand being around you. It's no, I'm so impressed and I'm so humiliated almost, or humbled, or however you want to
Sure.
describe it, by every time I'm seeing you succeed, or the
In
way
ways
you
that I wish I
perform
could.
in the ways that I wish I could.
And that's interesting because it's the mirror of what Hachiman's situation was with Hayama at the beginning.
At the beginning.
It's the reason why he hated him. I hate that I unconsciously just go
Try
into
to
the
mimic
submissive
you.
role and mimic you and things
Yep.
like that, right? I don't like it. And here Hayama's like, no, you're the one who's actually got the things that I want. Right?
So our main theory, is that our boy Hayato does or did or both like Yukinoshita.
I think it's something where it was made known in the past that he liked Yukino.
Very much so.
And he still likes her.
Yes.
And the parents
that's the part that's like we're 95%
right.
sure
It's
about.
basically guaranteed.
It's basically confirmed.
Oregairu, because it does all of the the social intrigues within high school and day-to-day life and things like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really tend to confirm things overtly to the audience, I feel like.
Right.
But yeah, in Oregairu speak, it really feels like they're
This is
they're
about as
saying it.
much of a confirmation as it gets.
And it is not hard to believe that if Hayama previously made known that he liked Yukino, that could definitely be something that would motivate the parents to be like, hey, Yukino, you should reciprocate because this will be really helpful, you know? And hence the whole thing of them both feeling caged because Yukino, of course, doesn't like that. She doesn't want anyone to tell her what to do and things like that. She's her own person, so she rejects it. Hayama's situation is then made a bit more complicated because he might be for or against the idea of the parents being on his side, but if it's something where he likes Yukino and then the parents basically potentially ruin his chances or make it something that could be more emotionally charged of a rejection than he originally would have gotten, something that might have just been a casual like, hey, sorry, I don't really, you know, I don't really feel that way about you right now, you know, I trust you as a friend and things like that. But if suddenly there's a bunch of pressure, then that can be a bunch of energy that he doesn't want. Because when they were like at school, from what we've seen in the show thus far, they didn't interact.
Not much at all.
Like, not much at all. It wasn't until things with the service club sort of brought them into close proximity that they actually started interacting. Which makes me think that there was some kind of wall there, some kind of potential awkwardness, bad blood, whatever, that made them keep distance from each other.
Yeah, what I would guess it is it's the kind of thing of where they don't hate each other at all.
Right.
They have just this awkward experience that they shared, and they're just trying to move on from it.
Right. Both trying to do the best they can, and just.
But I think she's moved on and he hasn't.
Right. Because. Yeah. Probably.
Now, regardless of whether or not he actually is in love with her right now, that's the part that's not necessarily, I would say, defined for me. I think it's like 90 to 95%.
Right. He did seem very defensive when the rumor got started, but that could just be as a. Hey, be respectful. That's a sensitive past
it's a sensitive
situation
thing for her.
Oh, sure. And then,
because one of the
I was thinking for him, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. But he has his own toxic view of himself that I kind of almost like throw it to the side initially because it's way more telling for me the way I see him interact with others.
Oh yeah, right. Because he's constantly going for the thing that is pretend and not genuine, like Hachiman.
You can tell what he's actually serious about.
You can tell what he's serious about, and then also what he believes he deserves.
Yep.
Because that's one of the ways that him and Hachiman are similar, right? The fact that it took Hachiman that long to break down and get to the point of I want something real, I want something genuine, that came from a place where because of past experiences and people in his life that told him certain things, he believed that he not only did he not deserve it, but it was so antithetical to who he was. He was incapable of it on his side of things and on other people's, right? And that's why he constantly doubted and attributed like ulterior motives and things to the people around him.
Right.
So yeah.
Now, with Hayato or Hayama, I think what he's so frustrated with here is that for some reason in his mind, Hachiman is courageous enough to say all these things that he wishes he could say. And he can't.
Right. He says it when everyone else is gone of I hate you. And it's probably to, you know, keep things comfortable for him. He doesn't need to create a bunch of drama with other people over this. Right.
Oh, of course. Of course. That's the main reason why people don't do things in general is some element of fear.
Right.
And
fear
the social
of
fear, the social fear primarily is how will XYZ think of me when I do this?
And potentially anyone, or XYZ, right.
It could be anything,
Yep. But then when Hachiman told Hayama, I hate you too, there was this bit of, like, appreciation.
Like, I was surprised. He's like, wow, no one's actually...
okay.
No one's actually said that to me before.
You're just saying that to be nice to me. Like, you know...
I mean, but I think he was also kind of shocked of like, oh... Right. That's what that's like. Oh.
Yeah, that bit of surprise and like, oh, this is... Right. I think I could get used to this feeling maybe, right? Yeah. Because in a lot of ways, if Hayama wants something genuine, that's a form of something genuine.
Totally.
If you can't get a genuine friendship because people are so used to like
get a
fawning over
rival.
Genuine rival, that's next best thing.
That is pretty close.
You know? Like it's a trope.
Fan fiction territory. That means you're basically like
you're
two
basically
steps away from.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like it's a trope in more fantastical stories that it's in this line of work you can't have friends.
No.
But the next best thing you can have is a rival. Right? And it's like, oh yeah, totally. You know, it's cheesy and it's good cheese, right?
Yeah.
But in this situation, especially with Hayama's social upbringing and things like that.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's got the good looks and everything and super popular.
Yep.
I totally believe that he would be in a situation like that.
For
because
sure.
that was one of the other things that really stood out to me back in season 1. Why did Hayama pick Hachiman, right? Because he really did. He picked him out of a crowd and latched onto him, right? The one person who probably was most predisposed to hate him.
Yep.
That's curious.
It is curious, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm kind of noticing a bit more and more, this episode just had it on steroids.
Oh, yeah?
Is Iroha has almost just claimed Hachiman at this point.
Yeah, like...
She's like, yeah. I have to keep having people
keep
believe
up pretenses.
that I'm into,
Which...
Hayama or Hayato.
Right.
But it's like, any chance she can get, she's just like,
I'll preface it with the, while I'm at it, good luck to you too. And then Tobei's like, thanks, I wasn't talking about you, like, and then the whole bit with, when they get to the student council room or whatever,
Yep.
and she grabs his arm and she's like, oh, senpai,
Right.
And then she sees Yui and Yukino just sort of being like, and she's like, like holds her hands up like in surrender almost, like she's dropping, like she just dropped a weapon.
Right, right.
And then, of course,
because...
Are you dating anyone, senpai?
Yeah, exactly. That was the thing where it was just
a demonstration, of course.
Right. But it's the thing of where she's seriously asking also, right?
Right. Like
because
you're playing checkers, she's playing 4D chess.
Right. And if Iroha can tell that both of them like Hachiman, how much more so do you think someone that might have known Yukino
her whole
from
life,
her like childhood, would recognize when she likes someone?
Yep.
Little things though that Hachiman just kind of brushes aside, like, oh, she's making good use of those mittens.
Right. Now, granted, she loves fluffy and adorable things, so whoever gave her those mittens, she would probably wear them like crazy.
That's true.
But all things considered, she wore those mittens. She brought you the drink. Like
based on what happened though in the freaking infirmary. Which guys, like this is the closest we've ever had to a legitimate.
This close to macking out.
Like she did the, the exhale of like. I just was
anticipating something.
I just swallowed and wet my my mouth basically and exhaled. It's that it's
when your
that,
faces are this close to each other and you're both blushing and staring at each other.
Yeah, it's that compulsory thing where you're like, I'm about to eat a sandwich. I just salivated, she basically just had the But it's so perfect because neither of them will make the first move because they're a bunch of bakas.
Well, and one of the things that I've been kind of curious about with regards to this show and Yukino's character and everything, especially given the sort of meta assumptions as salty as I am, that it won't be Yui, is the dynamic of Yukino as a character. I feel like it's one that because I've watched a bunch of anime, I have a better understanding than zero of some of the things at play, but there are a lot of cultural aspects that I just don't understand as well because I don't live in Japan.
With regards to what?
With regards to Yukino's archetype as a character. So the high status, the girl with the good grades, proper and very
proud.
Like kind
what
of
would be her flaw of this archetype,
right?
Generally,
well,
because she's not perfect.
Well, so far the flaw is that she has trouble interacting with people, right? She is the cloistered princess, right? But the unofficial princess, right? Not a
kind of is
like not a princess of
That's
a
true.
kingdom, but in the modern day society, she is the closest thing that there will get to be in stories, right?
Yeah, in terms of form, she is a Kaguya.
Yes,
if you will.
Exactly.
Completely different personality.
Yep. And in Kaguya, it's done for a bunch of comedic effect and
Gags
things.
And stuff,
but I feel like that is another one where comedy is a great way to understand thought processes of cultures and things like that.
Okay.
And that's kind of one of the reasons why I also love Yui, because I feel like Yui is sort of the regular person, you know, right? And so much so that we still don't know anything about her family or anything like that,
man.
right? But so then in these situations we have Haruno who's doing her whole thing, right? We have some sort of
Ooh, can we not brush past her?
Okay, sure.
I've been waiting to talk about Haruno.
But just as not to cover anything that's happening like in detail, but just like there are all these different players and movers and shakers and factors in close proximity to Yukino that make the situation complicated, right?
Well, right, and then the meta thing is that you're then made aware that she's the main girl.
She's the main girl, right? Because not only is it the conflict of will these two characters be able to grow emotionally enough to the point where they can have these intimate moments and hopefully
have anything happen.
Right, and have anything happen and hopefully have a romantic conclusion.
Right.
But then also there's environmental circumstances, right?
Yeah,
there are reasons why this
which
we don't fully understand, and those are going to be things that they must overcome together in order to finally be together and have that cathartic ending, right?
Yeah, and since we're coming up close on the end of season 2, I'm guessing that this problem in the Yukino environment side of things will boil over to the point that it leaves us with some kind of dramatic cliffhanger.
Yeah, this very much feels like sort of the drawing up of battle lines, the declaration of what the final battle will be, right? In that, okay, it'll be more or less confirmed that Yukino is the canon girl. I feel like this scene, all meta things aside, this scene was that, right? Because when it comes right down to it, Yui has liked Hachiman for a long time. He has also he enjoys Yui's company, right?
Yukino.
No. I'm talking about the comparison, right?
Gotcha.
But he has never actually reciprocated, right?
Right.
And a lot of it is because he wasn't in a good place for it and things like that and whatnot. And that's why I personally am still hoping we get more focus on that so that we can see it reach a more satisfying conclusion of him not choosing Yui. But then in the case of Yukino, sparks are there almost immediately once the topic is broached, right? Even though it's not being broached with words. All of a sudden, they're both really close and blushing, and is something going to happen? And then Hachiman pulls back a bit because he's like, this took me by surprise. This is scary, right?
Yeah.
So
okay, so I feel like if you want to draw up the battle plan, if you will, it's going to come down to Yukino versus her family.
Right.
And her immediate ally that a paladin would choose is the source of their worship, which at the moment is, or their duty, if you will, and that is to the service club. And there's a main kind of leader of the service club in her eyes, at the very least.
Yeah, she has.
It's not her anymore.
Yeah, she has acknowledged Hachiman as the captain, basically.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to think about, given her personality from the beginning.
Yep,
almost in and of itself is telling that she regards him in a really high way.
Yeah, because she does not
let other people be captain when she's around.
Like there is basically nobody. I don't think there's anybody that we've seen her actually holding that level of a high regard, right?
There are points I can tell when she maybe gives that a little bit over to Yui, but it's very minimal.
It's very much like a peers kind of a thing. Whereas with like when she came out with the drink and everything, and they were having that great communication of, hey, you're working on this case and things like that. Do you want help? All that stuff. Oh, you don't want help? That's okay. We've talked about this, so this is a good resolution to things.
Yeah.
It was very much like I trust in your judgment. You have my utmost respect. You know. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, but Haruno is one of the characters that I feel like I am bouncing constantly back and forth between a love-hate relationship with her. But you note how exceptionally hands-off she is here once she's brought into things.
And
she doesn't help Yukino, which I actually really like, because in a lot of ways, what Yukino's growth is the same thing that Hachiman's is. She needs to be willing to ask other people for help.
Yep.
Which is kind of the thing that she's been trying to ask with Hachiman. Now, Haruno wants to get alone with Hachiman because Hachiman's one that she understands, but also kind of just generally likes in how they banter. But she doesn't.
She doesn't do much surgical stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And any time that you have someone
she's incepting little ideas.
Sure.
In Hachiman's head, because it's almost like, from this angle, I feel like she's a shipper.
Yes.
She's trying to help Yukino.
And the thing is that just like a game of Among Us, if there's ever someone that is keeping quiet for a long time, ask yourself, is there a possibility that they're the imposter and this is all going according to their plan, right?
Yeah.
And in Haruno's situation, we've seen times where she is very overtly doing her surgery, right?
Yep.
She's doing her needlework. In this situation, she's doing a little bit,
Yeah.
but she's not doing nearly as much as she's done in the past.
Yeah.
Almost like she's starting to realize, I'm basically done, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's not much work left to be done. Time to just stitch things up and, you know,
Yeah.
call it good.
All right. So, Sai gets recruited to help with the running side of things here, and Hachiman
Does his confrontation.
does his confrontation. It doesn't work out exactly as he would have liked, but it leads to a genuine moment between him and Hayama at the end. And
Right.
I really liked Hayama's bit there where, you know,
Yeah.
Well-
Why didn't you tell anyone your decision? And he's like, when you pick the only option available, it's not really a decision.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what I really like here is that Hachiman doesn't really have a response to this. And it's something that kind of defeats him.
Okay.
Because I think that in this moment, Hachiman's starting to clue in a little bit.
Sure. Okay.
But almost always, whenever someone kind of addresses something at him that's a rhetorical question, he has some kind of equally
witty remark,
quip
you know,
to throw back at him. And this part here, I feel like Hayato won.
Yes.
He
Right.
won the verbal battle and decided to then change the subject. And this idea of Hayama, or sorry, I keep interchanging Hayama or Hayato to
Me
call him
too.
there,
It's the names in this show.
but I feel like there's this idea of them being rivals being something that will lead to them being the best friends, of course, but also in the way of which, with winning and losing, Hachiman might have realized how valuable it would be to let this guy win because of how, well, in a lot of ways, fragile he is. Now, immediately after this, he's like, okay, you know, I forgot to tell you something. I hate you too. Now, what I think what's great about this is he's kind of saying to him, that thing you just said, I don't have any response to that. I can't.
Gotcha.
So you win.
All right,
you
you
go.
have proven your superiority in this encounter.
Right. But I also see you as an equal. So I'm willing to
hate you because it
equally.
bothers me that you beat me.
Yeah. Exactly. And so Hayama is like genuinely shocked at this
Right.
in a way that's like,
Wait, hold on.
Wait.
Did I finally break through to him? Like,
and then immediately he kind of like snaps back out of it and goes into like
A smile.
smiling Hayato, like defense mode.
well, okay. So
I think that's him basically being like, I need to go process these feelings. So right now I'm putting up my facade to make sure that.
Gotcha.
But he is trying to build something on top of it a little bit.
Well, I was gonna say I think that smile and that chuckle and laughter was genuine happiness because he's finally getting the thing that he's wanted.
Well, yes, right. But the shock means that there's emotion on it that was negative. Like, not necessarily like in a I hate you kind of way, but just in a like that immediate defensive thing there. 'Cause
Sure, right. Anytime something that you've wanted for a long time is presented to you that has been sort of spurned in the past, then there is a good chance that there will be some apprehension, some
maybe worry,
caution
of,
of like,
wait, am I getting
is this
manipulated?
actually what's going on? Yeah,
Right. And I think almost immediately he's like, well, regardless, either way, I won here. So,
feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, this feels pretty good. But then he says, I refuse to pick and choose, showing the class, but Yukino right in the middle
directly in the center.
Yeah, but he says, I believe that's the best way to go about things.
Yeah.
And I think in this point here, Hachiman is basically like, oh, I get it. I get it, dude. Okay. All right. We can have this then. We can have this. And I'm very excited because I want these two to be like shoulder to shoulder. locked in,
like
taking down Yukino's family together.
Yes, that would be absolutely awesome.
When I think about this being like a setup for a final conflict, Hayama is the Han Solo coming in to save Luke on the Death Star trench run.
And
you're all clear, kid.
Let's blow this thing and go home. And one of the cool things about it is that because I could totally see them teaming up. Now, if they team up, theoretically, you could say that that's not in Hayama's best interest, because if he wants Yukino, then having the family on his side might be a good thing, right? No. Because he will never... because he knows that will never happen. Yukino will never give in to her parents. In fact, she is a very reactive character that will specifically keep him at a distance because of her parents. The only chance that he'll ever get is if her parents are removed from the equation. That sounded a lot darker than I meant. But the point is that then if he actually goes along with Hachiman and helps, take down her family, basically, that's something where then... it's channeling a bit of her paladin energy, right? That maybe he appreciated. Maybe that was something that actually caused him to fall for her, because he was the one that would always put up the facades and the kind smiles and everything.
Totally
and she wouldn't do that for a second, right? And so that could be a cool way to show to her that there's an understanding of her from him, so that way she can actually make a genuine decision of whether she wants him. And then in a similar situation, then Hachiman will have to decide of, who he's going after, but it's going to be Yukino. And now, before the discussion ends, we need to talk about that bit of Yui definitely not listening in and hearing everything that happened and possibly seeing it, because that window thing was right at her eye level. I think it's very
simple. She heard enough. She was hurt by it. We saw the frame of her right before she freaked out because Hachiman was there. She didn't necessarily hear everything, but all of it was enough to see them leaning in like that. You don't need to hear what's going on in order to understand what that look was.
When you're this far apart staring at each other.
I liked that I caught on. Complimenting myself is weird, but I liked that I caught on to the physical proximity thing when they went to the medicine cabinet together.
That
little thing where he was like, "Whoa, you're
right."
Close.
Because one of the things that I'm curious about
is it was just her being like,
right. She was very close to him because she was working on his knee and everything. She was initiating, yes,
before working on the knee,
and then he was sort of leaning in because. Whatever, right? It's the physical proximity, things like that. He was engaged in the situation, right? And then when she looks up, is it that he had been leaning in a bunch without realizing it, and then all of a sudden they're really close together, or was it kind of like a it
was sudden. It was not a thing of where they leaned in looking at each other.
Right, exactly. It was discovered that all of a sudden we're really close. Oh, and we kind of like this, but this is scary,
Right,
And
it's pretty simple in that.
I want Yui to basically get the chance to openly process and communicate about this whole situation, because Hachiman knows that she likes him, right? So it's going to be very... there are conversations that will need to happen when Hachiman chooses Yukino, I think.
If she doesn't choose to initiate
right, but that's her thing.
Happen.
That was her character arc from the beginning, is standing up for herself and saying what she really thinks.
Again, though, she's been primarily just standing up for other people, though, not as much for herself.
Right, she stands up to Yumiko and things like that, but, when it comes to her... Yeah.
So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.